This amazing test series just goes on. You thought through lunch and tea that India have put themselves in a position where it's unlikely they'd lose, looking at the numbers that teams have managed to chase in fourth innings at the Oval in England. Final session of play, Rory Burns and Hasib Hamid ensure that no wickets go down. 77 runs have also been scored. And all they need, I'm saying all they need with an asterisk on it, is 291 on day 5. It should set up a fine final day's play and a great post-match chat, or end-of-day chat rather, on ESPN Cricket for Matchday with Steve Harmison and VVS Laxman. It's improbable, but it's entirely possible, Stephen.
Myself at tea time, I was trying to stay in that. My heart's telling me over my head that we can do it, but no, it's honestly, what a session that was for England. What a session. We talked about how troubled England opening partners have been 1, 2 and 3 for the best part of 18 months. And they were brilliant. The pitch is getting flatter. It seems as though the bowlers are getting frustrated in the last half an hour there. And the closer player came, I think, for a good time for India. And who would have thought that at tea time? When you say it, the closer player came at a good time for India. Because I think England, even though they're still well behind the game, they've got an outside chance of making, well, there's all 3 results possible, an actual England win.
32 overs bowled, Lakshman. It's been a hard day for bowling. You can see that there's not as much help for the faster bowlers. Jadeja bowled 13. Did he bowl well enough, though?
Not what we expect from Jadeja, especially when you see that footmarks in front of Rory Burns. The only thing is whenever he's trying to flight the ball, it's quite full in length. And on this kind of surface, if you ask any batsman, the fuller the ball, it's easier. Whereas you have to hit that length where you allow the ball to turn. And there is also a lot of bounce on this surface on offer for Ravindra Jadeja. So if you can just pull back the length a bit, I think it will be much more effective. And this kind of surface, I'm expecting Ravindra Jadeja to actually put a lot of pressure on the English batsmen. It's just about not allowing them to score easy runs. And if you get 1 or 2, then I think you can pick up wickets in a cluster. So it's important to have that control. So if you can just pull back the length by probably a foot, I think it'll be more penetrative and more effective.
That's the key word, isn't it, Lakshman, with Jadeja? Control. And he's one bowler who's always had it. Can you explain this lack of control, full tosses, short balls? Not something we're used to seeing Jadeja. It's not today is the day that Jadeja would want, a surface like this. And yet we didn't see the control we're used to.
Yeah, and the natural trajectory and the natural length for Jadeja is a flatter trajectory and good length. Whereas on this surface, the footmarks are not on the good length, but little, probably 1 foot ahead of the good length towards the batsman. And Jadeja not very often has got that control whenever he flights the ball, but he has immense control whenever he's bowling flatter trajectory, whenever he's trying to hit the deck. And from there, in subcontinent conditions, in Indian conditions, the ball turns or just goes straight. So I think that is the reason why he's not been able to have that control as far as length is concerned. But if you see the line, he's still so immaculate. He doesn't give away runs on both sides of the wicket. It's just that the natural ability of Jadeja is to bowl at a flatter trajectory, and he's supposed to do something different, which is a challenge for him in this innings, definitely, because the footmarks are not on good length, but probably 1 foot towards the batsman after the good length area.
There are some very naughty people in my field, Stephen, the camera persons, directors that tend to pan the camera to our Ashwin at just, the most opportune moments. And you could see that today what India would give to have Ashwin on this surface.
Yeah, not just the director and camera person, but the commentators as well, when they realised he had an earplug in his ear and they were listening to what the commentators were saying. So I think they were just trying to pump his tyres up, get him ready for Manchester, where I can't believe he'll not play. And what would you give for Ashwin on this wicket? I thought Ravi Jadeja, like what VVS said, he's too inconsistent early on. And I think if he had put the pressure on in his first 4 overs, 5 overs compared to his last 5 overs, then I think this would have been a different innings. And then you could settle in on one end. Jadeja's going to have to bowl the majority of the day tomorrow. And exactly what we've been saying all summer long. Have India picked the wrong team? Well, I think what you would give for an Ashwin right now because of this would be a totally different contest. England come out tomorrow and do what they've done today, which is get over that new ball burst and then we could have a game on our hands.
Yeah, I mean, there's really
Just to add, Ronak, I've told probably on the third day of this test, or probably on the second day evening, that Virat and India will be missing the services of Ashwin on the last day. Now, the challenge for Ravindra Jadeja is he should not be thinking about Ashwin not being there, because not very often you see Ravindra Jadeja. A lot of people are expecting from him a lot on the fifth day of a test match in overseas conditions. I can understand that in Indian conditions, Ravindra Jadeja is as effective as Ravichandran Ashwin, but not very often in his career has been so much of expectation from Ravindra Jadeja. So I just feel that the two challenges ahead of him is he should not be feeling that pressure of expectations, and that should not affect his bowling. He should not be over aggressive, or he should not be looking to take wickets. All he should be doing is stick to his strength, and the strength of Ravindra Jadeja is the control, which we just spoke about. And the wicket will assist. He can suffocate the batsman and get a wicket. Instead of looking to do something different from his natural style. The second thing is he's going to bowl a long spell tomorrow. Now, can his body take that? Especially in overseas condition, he's never done that. So that's a challenge in front of Ravindra Jadeja.
And he, of course, comes at the back of not much bowling, didn't play the series in England, didn't play as much in Australia. The fact that we're having a Ravindra Jadeja conversation as long as we are at the end of 4 days of play at the Oval tells you how much is expected of him on the final day of play. Right, before we get to that final day, Stephen, looks like Rory Burns and Hasib Hamid are putting together the sort of partnership and consistency that England have been craving for, waiting for at the top of the order. You'd say this is the one innings where they've been under a little bit of pressure after Headingley and India's first innings. There was no real scoreboard pressure. These two batted well today, albeit in friendly conditions.
Yeah, they did, and the something that I think VVS, being the batsman, can probably elaborate more. You don't want somebody who was there for a good time and
That's
not a long time.
That's hardly stopped you this entire series. Come on, don't try and qualify.
averaging,
You're fine to have a
averaging
goal.
12.
Yeah.
But the rotation of strike for me, and I think when you talk about bowling and you say there's like a variable variation of something like Ishant Sharma, of myself, where the wrist was going over the top, was made as very good and very potent. I actually think the way these Hamid plays very low, so he gets a lot of inside edges onto his pad, and it goes into sort of into square leg or into sort of extra cover, drops it and runs well, and they rotate the strike very, very well. And I think one thing that India haven't done very well in this summer is bowl at left and right hand combination. Milan and Root in the last Test match, when they got away from them, too many full balls, too many straight balls, too many full balls. And I thought Hamid and Burns, because of the way Burns brings his back down and the trajectory he stands, he does tend to squirt the ball into areas where you struggle to set fields to. You don't want to field it there because you go, well, question yourself as a captain, why on earth have I got a fielder there? But actually, Rory Burns gets it into some peculiar areas. So from that point of view, if you're always rotating the strike, it is very difficult to put pressure on a batting unit when, as a bowler, you're thinking, right, I've got to bowl the left-hander now, I've got to bowl the right-hander now. And then with Jadeja bowling the way he did, I think that's the passage of the last 2 hours of cricket in that Test match. And for me, it's great to see, because England far too many times are 20 for 2, 25 for 2, 30 for 3, and Joe Root having to pick the pieces up off that. England are in a good position, like I said before, because these two guys have hung around and rotated very well.
Yeah, that's very interesting what Steve says, Laxman. These two looked assured. They look comfortable. And any observations on India's potential struggles to bowl to a left-right combination this series?
Yeah, it's always going to be challenging, especially for any bowler, whether it's a spinner or a fast bowler, because you can't settle down into a rhythm. Even when you're bowling to two different batsmen who are right-handers, still, different styles, you have to adjust your length, you have to adjust your lines. And every batsman, you have a different game plan to execute. But left-right combination, that's always going to be a challenge. But the way both Rory Burns and Amit batted, it also reflects the mood in the dressing room. And the mood in the dressing room, even just watching these two guys bat, is they're looking to win this match. Which is great. Because they didn't go into shell. It's not about the last session. They have to bat through, and then they will see how it goes on the final day tomorrow. But I think they're looking to be proactive, and also they've got a clear game plan how they're going to tackle Jadeja, because on this surface, more than the fast bowlers, Bumrah is someone who is in excellent rhythm, but I think he's just tired. Umesh Yadav bowled a good couple of spells in the first innings. But the real threat is Jadeja. And you see where Rory Burns was standing to Jadeja. It's almost on the off stump. So they know how to counter the threat of Jadeja with the rough marks in front of the left-hander. So I think there's a clear plan, and I think England is looking to win this game. And there's a right approach because
Right. We'll just hope to reconnect with.
England will
So
look
yeah,
to be positive, and they have a chance to win this game as well.
yeah, that certainly seems like what England would be looking at. Steve, as we look at the final day, it's 290 odd to get, 291 to get, 90 overs, little over three and over. Seems very gettable, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. And right at the very start of the innings, I was like, on this surface, in a 50-over game, England's white ball one-day side, I'd have backed them to win. 30-yard circle, 10 overs per bowler, field restrictions, power play, and all that. I would said, right, England win comfortably, chasing that total, not a problem at all, at the Oval modern day. But when you put, the 5 days of a test match, mental fatigue, tiredness, just everything that goes with what the test match atmosphere arena is. It plays wonderful tricks with your mind, and the brain is a wonderful thing. And when you are on the ascendancy and you think everything's going well, how many times have we said that in this test match series? The team is on top, all of a sudden there's a wicket and goes. This team is a fragile batting unit. So even if they get off to a good start tomorrow morning, just takes 2 wickets, and then all of a sudden there's a lot more pressure on the team coming further down the line because we haven't gotten over the line in the past. So I still think it's still massively in India's favour. If England are still batting at tea time, I'll have my popcorn ready to come on at tea time and wish my boys the best of luck because if they get to that far, they'll deserve to win for me.
Do you sense it will be relatively easy to bat tomorrow, Lakshman, or will one wicket potentially bring in new batters that may find it hard against this increasing rough?
Now, I think if at all England will find themselves in any kind of problem, I think it is more to do with the scoreboard pressure of chasing a big target.
Yeah.
Because as far as the wicket is concerned, I think it's a flat wicket. It's a belter. There's nothing for the fast bowlers. You see, Virat Kohli didn't even try Shardul Thakur, who is your fourth seamer, which means that he's overly depending on Jadeja, the spinner, and there's no penetration, no help at all for the fast bowlers. So it's more about how England handles the mindset of chasing such a big target, because history says that in the fourth innings on the final day's play, none of the teams have chased down such a mammoth total. So I just feel that how England handles the pressure will dictate the result of this game. If they succumb to that pressure, which is a possibility, then I think India will be right on top. And if they get in Joe Root early, and if he gets out probably before lunch, then I think India will fancy their chances, because the other players, I'm not sure they've got enough experience to handle the scoreboard pressure of chasing a big target.
Yeah, just on that, 32 overs, and we didn't see Shardul Thakur for reasons you can think are understandable. It's not easy. Lakshman, are you one of those believers that, if he's got runs today, let's give him the ball? Maybe, it's his day. I know a lot of cricketers that debunk that theory. There's no confidence that you take from bowling to batting or the other way around. But would you have given Shardul an over or two?
Well, I think Virat Kohli probably wanted to go with the three best bowlers, because even in the first inning, Shardul didn't look penetrative, and I don't believe in that theory. I know some of
Yeah.
them, do believe that if someone is having luck with the bat or is in good form with the bat, probably he can do something with the ball as well. But I just feel that Virat had to go with probably the three quicker bowlers on this surface, because Shardul Thakur is a swing bowler. Whereas if you see Umesh, while being a swing bowler, can also hit the deck, and he's quick in the air, and so is Siraj and Bumrah. Whereas Shardul requires some swing, requires something from the pitch or the conditions. Unfortunately, these conditions don't suit his style of bowling. So it will be interesting how Virat will use him tomorrow.
Yeah, I think Steve's closer to the all-rounder on this panel, so maybe I can ask him.
No, yeah. Look, I just think I agree with what Vivier said there. I think the time that you have to have your spinner bowling at one end. He's got foot marks. He's got a left-hander. There's big craters there. He's got to go. He's got to bowl better, though. And then at the other end, well, I would say Umesh Yadav was the best bowler in the first innings. Jasper Bumrah has to bowl, and Mohammad Siraj has probably been your best bowler over the course of this series, or one of your better bowlers. So I don't have a problem with Thakur not bowling. If he had a little bit more time, he might have tried to get him in. He might get him in first thing tomorrow morning. If the sunshine was coming out, the ball's at as good as it's going to get. If you get a good shine in it, you might be able to swing it, and then you might see him early in the piece tomorrow morning.
So if 10 wickets are to fall on this final day, unlikely as it may seem, Stephen, you know a lot about the Oval. What sort of bowling is likely to get it? It can't possibly be all Jadeja because I think that's expecting a lot from him. What kind of bowling is likely to get you 10 wickets on the final day?
I think for India to get 10 wickets, England are going to have to assist. I think there's going to have to be some poor shot selection, some good bowling, which will. This is how you've got to do it. You've got to bowl tightly. You've got to bowl in partnerships. All the cliches that go with it, and then you put pressure on the guy that's 22 yards away, and that hopefully will then get you a mistake. A mistake then brings two, possibly three. And like VVS says, if you can get rid of Joe Root by lunchtime, then I think India will feel as though they're well in the game. England do bat a little bit deeper, but scoreboard pressure and the moment that you are not got a chance of winning, i.e., once the runs becomes too much and you're out of sight and you can't get over the line as a winning point of view, then that is a completely different mindset all again. Because when you're batting to save the game, then it is 10 times difficult. And over 5 days, the mental pressure comes into it, and some teams crumble, and that's what India will be hoping for tomorrow.
Every time we talk about India, Lakshman, whatever the conditions, Bumrah seems to be just part of the conversation. At this stage, 4 tests in, would you at all be looking at how much you want to use Bumrah on the last day? This is the toughest that he's going to have to bowl. There's a quick fifth test coming around. He's already pulled up with cramp. Is that sort of thought at all entering your mind, or is Bumrah going to be used, aggressively by Kohli tomorrow?
The way I look at it, they are wicket taking bowlers who are impactful bowlers, and they're bowlers who are going to restrain the flow of runs. So Jasprit Bumrah and Umesh Yadav at the moment, the way they are bowling, they are the wicket taking option. So you don't want them to bowl long spells. You want to use them in short bursts, but whenever they're coming for this 3 or 4 over spell, they're looking to take a wicket. And then you have Ravindra Jadeja who is holding up one end, and then Siraj and Shardul Thakur are the ones who probably are the two quick bowlers who have to bowl long spells and almost just dry down the flow of runs. So by lunch it will be very clear that it's only two results which are possible, which is India winning the game or the draw. As far as the result is concerned, so I would always back Bumrah and Umesh Yadav to be your attacking options, and that's how Virat Kohli has to use them. Because if he's going with using both Umesh Yadav and Bumrah for long spells, then it will be exactly what happened today with Robinson and Jimmy Anderson, because they look flat, and that's something which India doesn't want, or doesn't Virat Kohli doesn't want.
All right, he believes in this template of four seamers and the sole spinner. Let's see if that comes good for him, or will England create some history? Maybe a quick prediction before we wrap up. These have been good so far. These end of day predictions. VVS Lakshman's got them right. He's got them right. Let's put Steve Harmison on the spot as well. What's going to happen tomorrow, Stephen? I'm with you through the day, but what's going to happen?
Oh, I've got to go with my team. I'm going to back my team to get it. I'm really going to back my team to get it. I'm going to back England to be in a position of strength at tea time tomorrow, leading 5 and over, with 6 wickets in hand. Joe Root at the crease, and England are going to win.
Well, if they've got 6 wickets in hand, that's effectively the best of their batting, barring Joe Root. So there's every chance. Let's go to VVS Lakshman now. Lakshman?
Well, I predicted on the second day itself that India will win this game. So there are only two results as far as I am concerned. Either India win the game or it's going to be a draw. I'm still backing India to win the game. Couple of wickets. You can see the dressing room, of the England team panic a bit. I don't know, Steve, whether he accepts it or not.
I'll accept that. I know that's going to happen, but I'm still backing my balls. I'm scared enough it's going to happen.
Okay, so I can see neither of you are leaning towards the draw. So we want a result, right? Tomorrow. Let's see how
No,
goes.
I think there's more possibility of a result than draw, according to me.
Of a result, right? Okay, batting the day out. If England do bat the day out, they might get the runs, or India might get the wickets. That's how we're looking at it. Thank you very much, Stephen Harmison, VVS Lakshman. This sets up a wonderful final day. at the Oval of this fourth Test match. VVS Laxman and Steve Harmison will be with us on ESPN Cricket for match day for lunch, tea, and stumps to see how their predictions on day 4 look. This is as good as this Test match could have possibly been after 4 days of play, as good as the series could have been so deep into it. So don't miss it on Monday and join us at lunch. Bye bye.